Welcome to Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. I am Jamie G, and I'm back with Magnum to help you seize the gap and stop being so inefficient. We're kicking off week 6 of the 2025 NFL season on Thursday Night Football with an NFC East showdown between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. Mills, let's see if Jalen Carter can stay out there for more than one play this time. That would be very helpful for your birds.
Well, considering the fact that Jalen Carter popped up on the injury report on Wednesday, it'd be nice to see him even get to the one play. Hopefully, it's not a zero, but that just kind of feels like how life goes as an Eagles fan. I'm sure Jamie G can commiserate as a Bills fan, and we appreciate y'all commiserating with us here on another episode of Siege the Gap Fantasy Football. You can find our content wherever you get your pods and on YouTube. Find us on social media at Siege the Gap FF and on the web at siegethegapff.com. Nice and easy to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please hit that thumb. And please know that while we are not affiliated with DraftKings or the DraftKings Sportsbook, we are getting our odds and wagers from there, and everything is accurate as of October 8th, 2025.
Well, ring that bell, baby, because it's time for the tail of the tape. Mills, what do we need to know about this showdown here before setting lineups and placing any wagers?
You should know that my 4-1 Philadelphia Eagles are on the road where they are 7-point road favorites, minus 360 on the money line, traveling to North Jersey to face the 1-4 New York Giants, 7-point home dogs, plus 285 on the money line. Game total is 40.5 points, so a pretty low total here. Doesn't look like we're going to have any notable weather issues, just kind of a cool autumn night, little bit of wind. You do have a couple of injuries to note for the Giants. Darius Slay is out. The wide receiver will not be playing on Thursday Night Football, and it does look like we will see running back Tyrone Tracy Jr. return for the Giants. Not sure what his role will be, but looks like he will be back. For the Eagles, guard Landon Dickinson is officially out, and defensive lineman Jalen Carter was added to the injury report with a foot injury, so hoping that he plays, but it's never good to see a guy pop up on the injury report on Wednesday when you're playing on Thursday Night Football. This is an interesting one, Jamie G. I know we're always kind of worried about the divisional matchups on Thursday Night Football, so of course that's what the NFL just keeps giving to us over and over and over again. A lot of ink has been spilled about this Philadelphia Eagles offense, and now you hear there was a powwow between like Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and AJ Brown, where they're going to figure this all out. You know, they did this last year, and it turned the Eagles really into a much more rush-based team. What do you think the Eagles are going to try to do here? Do you think they kind of refocus on establishing Saquon Barkley, or do you think they go the other way and maybe start trying to air it out more?
Well, I think we saw a little bit of an emergence of the passing game. I don't know how much more they're going to be able to do. My guess is they try to lean a little bit more on Saquon. Although I think the smart thing to do would be to try to air it out more.
Yeah, I guess it depends a little bit too, because that is, the strength of that Giants defense is their pass rush. Saquon's going to kind of want to have, I know he got his revenge games a little bit last year, but I think I'm leaning with you here, especially on a short week. I think it makes more sense to go there. And really, if you get Saquon going, that should at least force more men in the box. It unlocks the play action. It lets Jalen Hurts kind of throw those moon balls outside the hashes down the field. That's the one kind of throw he can make with some kind of consistency past 10 yards. So it would be nice to see them be able to set that up. How about on the Giants side of the ball here, man? You got no Slayton. Maybe Tyrone Tracy comes back. Jackson Darts look pretty decent, but who do you think steps up for them? Is it Cam Scadaboo? Do you see Theo Johnson have another game? Is it Wan'Dale Robinson? Who do you think can step up on that side of the ball for them?
The Eagles are tough to run against, and I think the way to beat them is try to figure out a way to attack, one side of the field here where their good safety and their good corner isn't playing. But with that said, I think they're gonna lean onto Cam Scadaboo here, and I'd like to see him get more involved in the passing game and in the screen game. Outside of that, we haven't seen a Wan'Dale Robinson emergence since that game against the Cowboys way back when Russell Wilson was playing. So I'm going to go with Theo Johnson as another target here.
Yeah, I've always liked both of those guys, so I think it will probably be by committee. I keep waiting for Jalen Hyatt to happen, but it sounds like it's going to be Lil Jordan Humphrey out there for Slayton. So I just don't know where all the points are coming from in this game, right? So I'm not, I guess, that surprised by the low total, the 40.5. Does that seem about right, or could this be one of those? We've seen this on Thursday night before, right? Like, oh, it's an NFC or it's an AFC North showdown with a game total of 41 points and they score 70. Is there any chance this turns into a creeper shootout, or is there just no way given what we've seen out of these two teams?
I think it's far more likely that it doesn't. Could it? Sure. But that would mean, that the Giants really figured something out offensively here against what's a pretty good defense in Philadelphia. So I don't see that necessarily happening. I think the more likely scenario is, they kind of keep it close. We see an ugly first half. Second half, it opens up a little bit, but it's probably going to still hit that under. I kind of see like maybe a 24-12 game.
I think that is certainly in play depending on how it goes. I think the closer it is, the more likely that it hits the over. We'll see, but that's probably a good number. If it was 42 and a half, I'd probably be banging the under, but the 40 and a half probably sounds about right. We talked about the Giants defensive line here. The Eagles got a banged up offensive lineman. Lane Johnson's been a little bit hurt. Which team do you think records more sacks here, the Eagles or the Giants?
I'm gonna go with the Giants. I just think they got a better pass rush here, and you know Jalen Hurts has been susceptible to taking some sacks. Again, rookie quarterback, it can easily go the other way where Philadelphia gets after him with the pass rush. We'll see if Jalen Carter plays. That would maybe change my opinion here a little bit. But for right now, I guess I'll take the Giants.
Yeah, the Jalen Carter thing is absolutely massive, especially again, they didn't have him last time they played on Thursday Night Football. Is this going to be a thing where maybe it's in his contract, he doesn't play on Thursday nights or something like that? I might just go with the Eagles, but that's because in my head, I'm establishing this narrative where they're going to try to just run the hell out of the ball with Saquon Barkley, which will limit the pass attempts for Hurts. So that's kind of the narrative. But I think if they try to air it out, it will 100% be the Giants with more sacks. So I think it's just a matter of which way Philadelphia chooses to operate their offense. What do you think? Total turnovers in the game, 2.5, under over.
I'm gonna go under, but I think it's definitely possible you see the over in this one. I think, Jackson Dart will probably throw one pick. We'll see if there's a fumble or something for Philadelphia, but it's hard for me to see three here. I'm gonna go under.
What do you think's more likely? Defensive touchdown, special teams touchdown, or another block kicker punt?
Ha! This is we shouldn't even have to answer this question, but given what's happened this year, I'm gonna say another blocked kicker punt.
I'm going with that too. It feels like it's just like teams figured out something, right? Or they're enforcing something differently. There's just too many for this to almost be noise at this point. Like this is just a historic pace of it. So, and that's also just more likely you don't have to score on that one. And speaking of scoring, man, who's got the creeper touchdown here? Who is the vulture man? I'm going with Daniel Bellinger. He's plus 900. Saw him involved a little bit more last week. I think he was probably getting some reps with the second team with Jackson Dart. So I'm hoping there's a little bit of a connection there. Who do you have for a creeper touchdown here?
Yeah, because why would you use your top two wide receivers that you pay a lot of money to? I'm gonna say Jahan Dotson takes one because again, why throw it to AJ Brown in the red zone or why let Devontae Smith high point it and bring it down? I mean that just doesn't make any sense. Let's go Jahan Dotson.
Even you couldn't bring yourself to go to the AJ Dillon. It's a nice big number, and I still couldn't. He got a couple of snaps last week. He's a big back. I was trying to talk myself into it. There's no way unless it's garbage time.
Will
So
Shipley has a better chance. I'm sorry. I
I
just,
would think out of yeah, so because he could at least break a long one. You would think if they done a dump off pass or something like that, or even a kick return. So yeah, I would probably rather go with Shipley, but their numbers are similar. So all right, there you go. Daniel Bellinger, Jahan Dotson. I know I nailed the Trevor Lawrence there. I should have just called it 2 time last time. So we'll see.
let's talk a little fantasy football for Thursday night, starting with the usual suspects. Mills, go ahead and line them up, and let's take a look and figure out who we need to lock into our fantasy lineups for Thursday night game, Thunder Gun style.
No hesitation, no surrender for the Birds. It has happened. The gauntlet has been thrown down. The only two usual suspects this week are Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. You're going to have to deal with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith on a case by case basis because they have not shown enough here to be locked into your lineup every single week. On the Giants side of the ball, it's pretty much just Cam Scatterboo. I will say if you are in a two quarterback super flex league, you could probably go ahead and play Jackson Dart. But otherwise, even with the return of of Tyrone Tracy Jr. I think we feel pretty confident about Cam Scadaboo and his role. We do have a couple of possible streamers here for you on Thursday night if you're looking to dig a little bit deep. Jamie G mentioned him. Tight end Theo Johnson for the Giants found the end zone twice last week. The tight end position has been a mess, so he's out there in a ton of leagues. A very, very viable streamer. If you're digging really deep at wide receiver, it sounds like it's going to be Lil Jordan Humphrey out there. It's kind of the main outside the hash marks target for the Giants. Again, available in about 100% of leagues. And we're hoping his kicks don't get blocked, but Eagles kicker Jake Elliott is probably a fine streaming option if you want to go there for a kicker this week. You know, maybe you have Fairbairn who's on a bye, something like that. Let's do a little start sit here, see if we can help people out a little bit. We agreed on most of these, but we were a little bit different on a couple. Starting at quarterback, we were wondering, all right, would you rather start Jackson Dart or Bryce Young? We both went Bryce Young. For me, Jamie G, it's a rule play. Start everybody versus Dallas, right? I mean, it's still kind of that way. Even if they're getting there, like the Jets got there in garbage time, it's not a great feeling when you have to put Bryce Young into the lineup. But I think overall, that game just seems like it's going to be, it's just a so much better chance of being a high scoring game than this one, right?
Yeah, it's a much better matchup. I agree with you.
Yeah, not really a lot more to it. Just the game total, that one's almost about 10 points higher. And then we had Jackson Dart or McCorkle Jones. And same thing, we both went with Jones. For me, it's very similar logic here. We've seen the Bucks be involved in a number of shootouts, over 70 points scored in that Seahawks game. Would make me feel a little bit better if we knew Jones was going to get, you know, at least one of Pearsall or Jennings back. But either way, I think I'm still okay with McCorkle Jones. Was that kind of your logic as well?
Yeah, 100%. And again, I just think better matchup, better chance of high scoring, and we've kind of kind of seen him do it here with limited options at receiver. So I like it still, even if it is in garbage time, or even if it's one of those games that's just kind of a whoever gets the ball last.
The Bucks do like to play those. I don't know. Do they play a different kind of game? I don't even know if they play anything different. That's pretty much just how they do it. And then we did disagree on this one. Jackson Dart or Michael Penix Jr. versus Jamie G's Buffalo Bills. You went with Penix. I went with Dart. For me, it was just kind of the rushing upside here, and I just don't trust Penix. He's been too hot cold this season. If you absolutely have to, you could go there. But I feel right now I'm comfortable with the rushing floor that Jackson Dart provides. If he can get one rushing touchdown, one passing touchdown, 200-ish passing yards, throw in 30, 40 rushing yards. I think that's enough for me looking for a bye week fill in. Is this just you thinking that the Bills Falcons game is going to turn into a bit of a shootout, or just the fact that you like Penix's weapons a lot better?
Well, I like Penix's weapons a lot better, but we've also seen the Bills' defense be pretty bad. Their pass defense has been atrocious. The safeties still aren't on the same page. It's still not dominant safety play, and Christian Benford is not playing as well as he did last year. And Tre'Davious White has absolutely lost a step and shouldn't be even be in the starting lineup. And so when you look at receivers, they're getting 5, 10 yard cushions and are basically wide open against this Bills defense. And so unless the pass rush gets there against Michael Penix, I just think he could have a big day here. And this game is looking like a higher scoring affair than the other one. So there's no rushing upside. I get that, but I think there's a lot more passing upside here. So I'm taking Michael Penix against a Bills defense that just hasn't been very good.
Yeah, you're definitely right about the game environment and the passing upside. And we disagreed on the which one would you start if you own both Eagles wide receivers, AJ Brown versus Devontae Smith. I went with AJ Brown. Just, I mean, we talk about a squeaky wheel game. This is just like the pure grease game. But Devontae Smith has been better. You went with him. Is that just kind of you stick with what's been working more or less, and Devontae Smith's been better, so just stay there?
Yeah, and just the bigger play potential. You mentioned those kind of outside the hash mark moon balls that he's going to throw. If it's going to go to somebody, it's likely going to be Devontae Smith. He's going to high point it. He gets one of those. It's probably more yardage than AJ Brown gets with how they utilize him. So for that, I'm just going to go Devontae Smith here, thinking they're neither one's going to get a ton of target share, but what they do with them and what the pass looks like, it probably favors Devontae Smith for me.
I think the Eagles are just some musical chairs, but AJ Brown at quarterback, put Barkley at wide receiver, and Jalen Hurts at running back, and we'll just be a much more functional offense, I think. So we could throw that one out there. And then we disagreed on Devontae Smith or Zay Flowers. You were still on Devontae Smith, I'm assuming for similar reasons. I went with Flowers basically because I plan on the Ravens being down and him being the primary focal point of their passing game, at least at the wide receiver position. So it was really just a volume play for me there. And then we agreed on AJ Brown over Chris Olave. Is that just a function of you can't really do anything with the Saints offense right now?
give the Patriots credit. They got two good corners. You know, Christian Gonzalez came back, played well, got away with a lot of early contact in that game against the Bills. We'll see if that happens again. But both those corners played pretty well, and I just like the matchup a little bit better with AJ Brown here. So I'm gonna go with that.
I agree with you there. And then we both agreed on going with Dallas Goedert, the Eagles tight end, over David Njoku. Njoku did have the big game last week, but has a tough matchup against the Steelers. Also, kind of splitting time there at the position with Harold Fannin Jr. So that was more or less my logic. You see Goddard every week. You know, he gets a red zone target, he gets one shot in the splash play. Not going to get a lot of volume, but I guess he's been more consistent than Njoku. So that was more or less what I was thinking. Anything to add on Goddard here?
Yeah, there's he's not really sharing the reps with anybody at this point, right? Like David Njoku has got Fanning Jr. nipping at his heels. I just think for all those reasons that you said, plus that Dallas Goedert made a lot of sense.
Yeah, also a good point with the target thing. It does look like Grant Calcaterra, the Eagles' backup tight end, might miss this week, so that could open up another target or two at least for Goddard. So just something to add to the pile. But we did both go with Zach Ertz over Goddard. For me, it's pretty simple. When you look at Ertz, he's done very well in games where the Commanders have been behind and really had to play in a shootout type of situation. In games where they've been up and they get to run the ball, he does almost nothing. I'm expecting this to be a closer, higher scoring affair. I think the game total is over 50 here. So that's why I went with Ertz. Was that about what you were thinking?
100% spot on.
And then we both went with Theo Johnson versus the Eagles over AJ Barner. He of the two touchdowns scored last week. Kind of tough matchup at the Jaguars there. They've been a pretty good defense. Again, this was kind of a toss up for me. I just don't trust Seattle tight ends no matter what. So, and Theo Johnson's kind of been my guy. So that was kind of it. By default, I try not to do the Seattle tight end thing. They can be very useful, but it's tough to pick which one. This will probably be the Elijah Arroyo week because AJ Barner went there. So, was that kind of your thinking there? Just don't trust the Seattle tight ends?
Yeah, it's just been so difficult to kind of pick your poison there. It's just like best ball or nothing for me with Seattle in terms of the tight ends. And we've seen, you know, this out of Theo Johnson now. He seems to be a real favorite target to Jackson Dart. I expect that to continue here.
I am a fan. And then it's kind of interesting. The last one was Theo Johnson or Evan Ingram, and you were consistent here. You stayed on Theo Johnson. I went over to Evan Ingram. I just start everyone against the Jets. I know it is the London game, but that's kind of one of the rules that's worked out well for me this season. It looked like his role was growing a little bit last week, so I'm hoping he finds the end zone. You know, nothing crazy, 4 or 5 catches, that sort of thing. But really wouldn't shock me for the Broncos to score 30 plus points here. So I don't know that the Giants are going to exceed 20 points. So it was really just kind of a numbers game. And again, start everyone against the Jets, right? I think at least that Jets rule is in effect.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I just wanted to see Evan Ingram do it more than once before I kind of went there, whereas we've watched Theo Johnson do it. But I totally agree with the logic.
Oh yeah, definitely. Overall, I'm a big fan of Theo Johnson. I just think it's again Denver's just. I think it's a nice get right week for their offense here.
Well, there's more than one way to play fantasy football, so it's time to take down some Thursday Night Football Showdown contests over on DraftKings. We got a couple of players that you should get into your lineups, beginning with the top, your most crucial decision, who to play at captain. Oh, captain, my captain.
Well, we'll see. I mean, if you are in a cash game, double up, head to head, single entry, small tournament, I think you still want to put Jalen Hurts in there, 16,500 a captain. Hasn't quite had the rushing upside we're hoping for, but can bust it out at any moment. You still obviously have the touchdown equity from the tush push down there. Maybe they try to air it out. I think there is a universe where if they go to the very Saquon heavy game plan, he gets squeezed out a little bit here, but he's been very, very consistent for the most part. So again, you want that kind of high floor with access to a ceiling in those cash games, single entry formats. So I think it makes sense to go with Hurts. But if you are in a large field tournament, I think this is the spot to go ahead, take a chance on Barkley. He's actually more expensive here, 17,400. He's been wildly disappointing this season, which is driving down his ownership at captain. Did pop up on the injury report. I do not think I can stomach playing him at captain in a cash game or something like that, but in a tournament, we've seen what can happen last year. It's not out of the realm of possibility. He could have 200 yards and 3 touchdowns or something like that. So I like having access to that kind of ceiling there. What do you think, JVG? Would you rather pay up for Barkley there at captain in a tournament or go with Jackson Dart at 15,300 or AJ Brown at 14,700?
I'm probably willing to pay up because I just there's so much. It's a lot of money spent on some of these guys that you have no idea what they're going to do or how many times the football's even going to get thrown in their direction. So I think I probably pay up and go with Dart.
And it's really tough to go down further than that unless you think it's going to be some kind of crazy defensive game. You could always kind of get into that narrative. But I think if it is, that probably just feeds back into Saquon Barkley. So I think this is a spot if you were going to play in a tournament, it makes sense to spend up, especially because I don't know who else you're spending up for then if you're not willing to pay up for these Eagles wide receivers. No one on the Giants is that expensive. So, you got to spend it somewhere.
Once we get past the captain position, anybody else sticking out to you?
Well, I think you kind of have to dumpster dive right away on the Giants side of the ball. Little Jordan Humphrey is the stone cold minimum at 200. The coaching staff came out and highlighted him as the player most likely to take Slayton's role. At $200, if he's even playing 30 snaps, you pretty much have to play him. I think this is a free square play. If you are in a large field tournament and you want to get away from him for the sake of being contrarian and having a different lineup, I think you want to go ahead and do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But otherwise, at the min price at $200, double check, make sure he is starting. But if he is starting, you pretty much have to lock little Jordan Humphrey in there. I don't mind taking a shot on Jalen Hyatt, but he is 3K more. He's $3,200. So if that was the case, I'm going to spend up for that. I might actually spend the extra 200. Go to Jamie G's guy, Jahan Dotson, 3,400. Could be a random touchdown scorer. Jamie G, do you have any interest in the Eagles DST here? $5,400, rookie quarterback getting his third start, divisional game, short week. Can I sell you on them at all, or is just the Eagles defense been so inconsistent that you don't want to dare take that chance?
Yeah, if it was $1,000 less, I think I can get there. But for that price, I think I'd probably rather go with one of the kickers.
You're not wrong there. I mean, this could be one of those Thursday night games. Would it really shock you if the right play is two defenses, two kickers, both running backs, a partridge and a pear tree or something like that? Would not be a real shocker at all. I think what's interesting is if I'm not playing Saquon Barkley at captain, I don't know that I have a ton of interest in playing him in my flex. If I'm not playing Barkley, I'm assuming I have Hurts at captain. And if Hurts has the good game, there it can be okay, there can be a little correlation with Barkley having a good game, but it's not a terribly strong one. Would you rather play Jamie G? Which giant? Jackson Dart at 10,200 or Cam Scatterboo at 10K flat in your flex?
You know, it's not a huge savings dropping down from Dart to Scatterboo. Um, I guess I'd probably go Dart, just assuming he's going to get, close to 200 yards and two touchdowns. That's kind of what you need out of him. I guess I'm leaning there, Mills, but I'm going to be honest. This is tough. This is not. Nothing sounds good.
Right. It's really tough to figure out again where all the points are kind of going to come from in this game. And that's what we talked about with the low total and everything. I think I would lean Dart just because almost everything short of a rushing touchdown for the Giants, he figures to have a hand in, and he's got, the rushing upside of his own, both to find the end zone and just tack on some yardage. You do also have the return of Tyrone Tracy Jr. So factor that in a little bit to Scadaboo, at least maybe steal a couple receptions, something like that. Would you rather pay 9,800 for AJ Brown or 9,600 for Devontae Smith in your flex, or just go fish?
Yeah, I just don't know that I can really spend money on either one of these guys because there's just
Let's assume you're playing Hurts at captain and you feel like you got to pick one to kind of stack with him. Which one would it be?
I guess I go Smith. You're asking me to, drink a vomit smoothie or a shit sandwich. I mean, this is really tough.
Yeah, it's classic South Park. It's a douche or a turd sandwich. I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You got to spend that money somewhere. On the Giant side, would you rather pay 7,200 for Wandale Robinson or 7K flat for Tyrone Tracy Jr., assuming he plays?
I think I'd probably pay up for Robinson here, just hoping he has that big game. Whereas with Tyron Tracy, there's a little bit of question mark, and there's a little bit of how much work's he going to get. With Scadaboo kind of cementing himself, and they're still kind of working in Devin Singletary a little bit. So there's just not that many shares. So I think for that, I'll pay $200 more and go up for Wandale Robinson.
Yeah, that one's not really even close to me. Originally, I was kind of going to be more of Slayton in there, but since he's out, that's kind of the only other guy that's in that price range. He's 2 or 3K too expensive. If Tyrone Tracy was 4K, I would think about it here. You hope maybe he has a couple big receptions, something like that. But otherwise, I think you absolutely go with Robinson in this range. And what tight end would you rather play? Goddard at 6,400 or Theo Johnson at 5,800?
Yeah, on the surface, you'd love Theo Johnson at 5,800 here, and I think you can make a case. but I think it's going to be hard to spend all this money. You'll have the 600 extra bucks here. I'm going Dallas Goddard.
I think there's universes where I can play both of those guys, so we'll see how it works. I might have a slight lean towards Johnson just because I think he gets a couple more targets. But again, I think they're very, very fair. The correct answer for a lot of these might be just whoever the lower owned guy is. Usually, leverage is more important than saving a couple $100 in salary. Let's see here. Let's do a little pack in the stack in the back of the act, just a little mini stack here to get you going. If you throw Jalen Hurts in your captain spot at 16,500, you can add in both tight ends, Theo Johnson at 5,800, Dallas Goedert at 6,400. Throw in Jackson Dart there, 10,200. You got to have somebody on the Giants side of the ball, and he's going to be throwing it to Theo Johnson. That leaves you the fives left. You have $5,550 per player. If you want to go ahead, throw in the little Jordan Humphrey. That means you can play anybody else you want. Otherwise, you can kind of split the difference here. So just a little bit of a mini stack to get you started here. You got to dip your toe on Thursday Night Football because before you know it, it'll be Sunday, it'll be Monday, and then we'll be done with the first third of the NFL regular season.
I'm gonna make my Monday. I'm gonna
And if you don't like money, guess what? You're in the wrong place. Get out of here because it's time for Bet It, Bank It, Blow It. Mills, get us ready to place our Thursday night football wagers.
Once again, please remember we are getting our odds and wagers from the DraftKings Sportsbook. Everything is accurate as of October 8th, 2025. And here on Bet It, Bank It, Blow It, our preferred currency is the Cricket coin. So all of our bets and wagers will be in the form of Cricket coins. In Cricket, we trust. We're opening things up with the golden grab bag, just basically wagers we like, but they're not our absolute favorite wagers for the week. In week 5 on Thursday Night Football, Jamie G, you led the way. You hit on the Puka Nakua and Christian McCaffrey, 150 plus receiving yards between the two. So you turned a profit of 101 Cricket coins. I lost my 100 Cricket coin wager. I had Kyron Williams, 20 plus combo yards in the first quarter. The Rams only had the ball for about a minute and a half and ran 7 plays, I think, and he still had 13. Almost got there. If the McCorkle Jones hadn't just dominated the first quarter, feel like that one would have hit, but unfortunately it did not. For the season on Thursday Night Football in the grab bag, Jamie G, you are up about 61 coins. I'm up about 91 coins. And for the entire season in the grab bag, Jamie G, you're up about 23 coins. I'm up about 216 coins. What do you have to fill up the grab bag for Thursday Night Football, Jamie G? Make me feel good about my birds.
Yeah, I got a couple here, and I think both you will like. I'm going to go ahead and put 100 Cricket coins on Saquon Barkley to have 10 plus rushing yards in each quarter. I just couldn't get off the number here at plus 155. And again, I think they're going to try to establish a running game here, and we haven't seen that big Barkley game yet. I think it's coming, and what a better spot than here against his former team in Jersey against the Giants. 10 plus rushing yards in each quarter, plus 155, 100 coins there to win back 255. And then I'm also going to put 100 Cricket coins on the first quarter money line and the full-time money line being Philadelphia and Philadelphia. That's right. They're winning at the end of one, and in the end, they're winning. That's plus 120. Really like those odds too for basically just need them to be winning at the end of the one and at the end of the game here. So if you look at just the regular money line, you just can't bet it with the way the number is. So we're getting at plus 120 here. 100 coins there to win 220 back.
The Charlie Sheen wager, the winning. Not sure if it's driven by tiger blood or some other illicit substance. I only have one for the grab bag here. I think that they're going to mostly focus on Saquon Barkley, but I think that Jalen Hurts is going to try to force it to AJ Brown a couple of times here, and I think he winds up getting picked off once. So I'm going to put 100 Cricket coins on Jalen Hurts, 1 plus interception. That is plus 146. 100 coins to win 246. Doesn't mean they lose the game, but I think it's going to be a focal point to force the ball to AJ Brown. I think the Giants are going to know that. Maybe you get one tipped. Maybe he just throws up a jump ball that doesn't go the right way, but unfortunately, I think he's turning it over at least once via the air. And sometimes my thoughts are not right, and that's why I'm a degenerate. But you don't become a degenerate all at once. It's a slow careful, somewhat crazy process that we call the 3 degrees of degeneracy. Last week, I wasn't quite a good degenerate because I actually turned a profit of 40 coins on Thursday Night Football. Hit on my Puka Nakua 9 plus reception prop, but missed on Nakua having 120 plus receiving yards and 2 plus receiving touchdowns. That means on the season, I am still down about 485 coins to the degeneracy on Thursday Night Football. And overall, my degeneracy measures out at a negative of about 898 coins. This week, once again, we have the 3 degrees. Degree number one, this is something we call the flounder. If you're new to degeneracy, you're just dipping your toes in. You can see how fast it goes downhill. We're putting 100 cricket coins on both teams to score 1+ rushing touchdown. That's just about even Steven, minus 110. 100 coins to bring back about 191. Obviously, the Eagles are one of the more prolific rushing touchdown teams in the league. I like Cam Skadoo around the goal line. I like Jackson Dart's ability to bring one in. So I think that we're going to get at least one rushing touchdown on each side. And then we have the Barney Gumble, our favorite degenerate drunk down at Moe's Tavern. He thinks it's going to happen again this week, Jamie G. He is putting 50 coins on Theo Johnson to find the end zone once again. Theo Johnson, anytime touchdown scorer. That's actually plus 390. So 50 coins brings you back 245 coins. And then finally, we have the Cricket. In honor of the Rickety Cricket himself, if you're living under a bridge, all you have is 25 coins to rub together. You want to turn them into enough money to escape the bridge life. He's going with a little two-leg single game parlay here, betting on the big Saquon game. Leg number one, Saquon Barkley, 140 plus rushing yards. That is plus 598 on its own. Leg two, Saquon Barkley, 2 plus anytime touchdown scorer, plus 330 on its own. Parlay those two legs, your odds are plus 1200. So a mere 25 coin wager will return 325 coins. Go Saquon, go Birds. And when the Eagles win, when the Phillies win, even when they lose sometimes, there's always a party in Philadelphia. And we like a good party. And our favorite version is the parlay partay. It's a very cool party, but the cost of admission is a parlay. Last week, Jamie G, you had our Thursday Night Football parlay. Unfortunately, you lost 100 cricket coins. You hit one of your 3 legs. You hit on the Stafford 250 plus passing yards. Just missed on Puka having 100 plus receiving yards. And a little bit more, but still not that far off on Kyron Williams 70 plus rushing yards. For Thursday night football at the Partay, you are down 300 coins total. Our collaborative parlays are down 200 coins total. And overall for the season, you're down 247 coins to the Partay. We're down those 300 coins collaboratively. Jamie G, how are you going to liven up the parlay Partay this week? Show us the legs.
I'm feeling I'm feeling the green. I'm feeling the green, Mills, and that means money's coming. I got a 3 leg single game parlay here. Leg number one, we're gonna take Dallas Goedert getting in the end zone anytime touchdown score. That's plus 250 on its own. We're also gonna tease the under up here and do an alternate total with the Philadelphia and the Giants total score being under 47.5. That's minus 270. And then we're going to say your guy, Jalen Hurts, is going to have over 1.5 passing touchdowns. One of them is going to go to Goddard. We don't care where the other one goes. Maybe Saquon. We'll see. But 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's plus 150. And we put them together here, Mills. We get plus 850 odds, 100 coins to win back 950. All we got to do is hit one of these, and we're smooth sailing.
I mean, at that point, you might as well just throw the Birds money line in on that. I mean, it feels like a very, very Birds central. I suppose that could happen and they would lose, but I would be surprised. That's why I'm a degenerate. You always find an extra leg.
He's always looking for that extra leg. Gotta love it. When it comes to wagering, you need to be selective with your biggest wagers. And we're looking for a couple of golden eggs here. So it's off to see the goose, the wonderful golden goose. These eggs are pure gold, the best wagers for Thursday Night Football that we've got. Mills, how did the goose lay him last week?
We goosed it pretty good last week. We both hit our Golden Goose wagers for Thursday Night Football. I turned a profit of about 168 coins, hitting on Matthew Stafford 2+ passing touchdowns. Jamie G, you turned a profit of about 223 coins, hitting on the Matthew Stafford over 235.5 passing yards. I think he was well over 300, so maybe the only complaint, didn't juice it up enough. I am still getting myrtleated on these thanks to the for the Eagles' first Thursday Night Night Football game there way back in week one. I am down about 782 coins to the Goose on Thursday Night Football. Jamie G, you are down about 149. But thankfully, we are doing much, much better on the other slates. Overall, for the season with the Goose, I'm up about 384 coins, while Jamie G is up about 1,252 coins. That gives you the right to go first this week. Your absolute best wager for Thursday Night Football. Lay us that egg from the Goose.
Yeah, and just keep in mind, still kind of early in the week. We don't have a ton of optionality here. As you get closer, you might find something you like more. But as of recording this, my favorite one that I found was 250 coins, Mills. I'm putting it on Jackson Dart to have over 1/2 passing touchdown. So all he's got to do is get one passing touchdown here. That's his over-under line as of Tuesday. As of Wednesday, October 8th. So I'm taking the over 1/2 a passing touchdown. It's minus 188, 250 cricket coins to win back 383.
That brings it to me, and it was very tempting to go back to the Eagles side of the ball. But I think ultimately we know where the Giants' bread is going to be buttered on offense. So I'm just going to stick with the main character here. I'm putting my 250 cricket coins on Jackson Dart to have 230 or more passing plus rushing yards. That's plus 114. So 250 coins to bring back 535. I think about 200 passing yards seems very doable. Needs to add about 30 with the legs. That's right about where he's been so far this season. So I feel this is a pretty fair number, and I like the odds that I'm getting here. So let's try to keep turning things around on Thursday night, make it match up more closely with the rest of the week for us, which has been going very, very well.
Yes, it has. Good luck to you guys on Thursday night. Remember, it's still Thursday night football, and there's still so much variance in this league. And when you're just getting ready to just be so mad with the variance, remember, that's also the reason why we like it. And I have to tell myself that lesson in poker all the time. Really, same applies here. Thank you guys for checking us out. We are Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. We'll be here each and every week to do these. Go ahead and like and subscribe and push through your notifications. That way, you'll get notified every week when we drop this. And it's not just Thursday Night Football. We're going to do the main slate on Sunday. We'll do Monday night, Sunday night. And when the NFL does crazy stuff like Friday nights, we'll probably do those too. You don't want to miss it. Good luck this weekend. Mills will let you know where you can find all of our stuff.
I can't wait for my Eagles Black Friday game. So that will be happening. We will be talking about it. We will be here. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. Once again, you can find our content wherever you get your pods and on YouTube. Find us on social media at Seize the Gap FF and on the web at seizethegapff.com. Very simple, very easy to remember, just like those flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please touch that thumb. I'm Magnum Mills. He's Jamie G. Thanks again for checking out the show. And remember to please seize the gap and stop being so inefficient.
And we don't care if you're old. Seize the gap.
There will come a payday, hallelujah, what a payday. There will come a payday someday, someday. There will come a payday, hallelujah, what a payday. There will come a payday someday. When I lay my